I have your attention? Unfortunately, the clock in the back is going backwards. Sometimes, sometimes I feel I'm going backwards, but so by my watch, it is 10 o'clock. So I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. Um, Before I ask you to stand for the flag salute, I'm going to also ask you to continue standing after the flag salute so that we can remember our friends and neighbors who 18 years ago today died in the World Trade Center. The 2,983, I think, folks who died were not only American citizens, but there were many foreign citizens there also. And it's a day that somebody asked me, what days in your life do you remember exactly where you were? And obviously that is one day that we all remember where we were and what we were doing. And it continues to give a lump in our throats, I think, every September 11th. So if we could have a moment of silence after the flag salute, that would be most appreciated. Please stand for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public's notice.
Adequate public notice has been given pursuant to the Open Publics Meeting Act. Notice having been posted at the board's office and having been delivered to the Department of State and to newspapers of broad circulation within the state.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Shivakula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon?
Yes.
President Fiorliso.
Yes. Next regularly scheduled meeting?
The next regular board meeting is scheduled for Friday, September 27, 10 a.m., State House Annex, Committee Room 4.
Thank you. We're going to be going into executive session, which I anticipate is going to last probably a half hour. And we're going to be discussing two items which we will be taking action on in regular session. And the two items are energy item number M regarding Rockland Electric Company, and clean energy item D on the offshore wind solicitation. Can the Attorney General's office please tell us why, or the justification for going into?
For item 2M, it's going to be attorney-client as well as the contracts exception to the Open Public Meeting Act. And for item 8D, it's going to be attorney-client as well as a discussion of confidential information.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Aye. We're back in regular session. I do apologize, it was a little longer than a half hour, but I've always had trouble telling time anyway. Just a couple of items that I'd like to bring everyone up to date on. That's not one of the items. I'm happy to announce that several individuals who were former interns and temporary employees have joined us as full-time staff. Shri Medicella is new in our energy division. Is she here? No. Okay. Thais Ford is joining our administration and office services. They're all back at the ranch working, I hope. Yeah. And Renee Powell, Reliability and Security Division. So we welcome them aboard, and I hope they have productive and long careers with us. I would also like to congratulate Julie Ford on her promotion to become our Director of Customer Service Division. And she has assured me that she will inject humor when she delivers customer assistance items, right, Julie? Julie joined the board in 1990 and was able to, through a lot of hard work her way through the ranks. I have no doubt, Julie, that the Division of Customer Service will be in good hands under your leadership. So congratulations. Anyone else have any opening remarks? Okay. Madam Secretary, the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. On consent agenda items 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, 5A, 7A, 7B, 7C, 7D, and the minutes from the July 10, 2019 agenda meeting.
So moved.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Shivakula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiorliso?
Yes.
Approval of the executive session minutes from June 30th, 2017, agenda item 2B.
Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I'm going to abstain from item 2B as I was not a member of the board when that meeting was held.
So it would be hard for you to vote on that, wouldn't it? Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner.
So moved.
Roll call.
Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Shivakula?
Yes.
President Fiorliso?
Yes. Okay, that brings us up to our first item, audits regarding Universal Service Fund. Maureen?
Good morning, Commissioners. This matter concerns a request from the Department of Community Affairs for approval of the Universal Service Fund Program's administrative cost budget for fiscal year 2020. As you know, USF provides monthly credits on the electric and natural gas bills of approximately 160,000 low-income households. The Department of Community Affairs is the board's USF program administrator and submitted the proposed administrative budget in the amount of $6,618,443 for board approval. Included in DCA's budget are DCA's costs for administering the USF program, as well as costs for the community-based organizations that process USF applications in each county. The budget represents a net increase of approximately $220,000 compared to the fiscal 19 budget. The increase is due to slight increases in salary, fringe, and indirect costs, 211 contractual costs for administering the USF hotline, a slight increase in the number of applications processed, and funding to increase the number of application agencies in 6 counties. This is only a budget. DCA will return to the board with an accounting of all fiscal year 20 expenditures when they're available for your approval. Board staff, including Office of the Secretary, Division of Audits, has thoroughly reviewed the budget and found it appropriate and necessary for administering the program, and therefore recommends that the fiscal year 2020 USF administrative cost budget be approved.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorelliso?
Yes. Thank you, Maureen. Energy, item 2A regarding a FERC item and the New York SEAM item. And you're going to present, Cynthia?
Good morning, Commissioners. As you can see, this item relates to FERC proceedings, in fact, several of them, and they are noted in the caption on your agenda today. Staff is asking that you ratify a filing that we made in these various dockets, which I will explain in just a moment. To put it into context, as President Fiorelliso just mentioned, these various dockets all relate to transmission and capacity market pricing related to the New York SEAM. That is the border between PJM interconnection and the New York Independent System Operator. Those of us in North Jersey like to call that the Hudson River. And so that is this New York SEAM. The cases pending before you had been designated for settlement proceedings by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission in July of 2018. And the purpose for doing so was FERC's recognition of changed circumstances regarding the New York SEAM. Those changed circumstances relate to the termination of certain contracts related to what's known as the Con Ed, Consolidated Edison Wheeling Agreement, so we call that the Con Ed Wheel, as well as the termination of firm transmission withdrawal rights, and we call those FTWRs. So the termination of these contracts resulted in the cost allocation, well, it resulted in zeroing out of cost allocation for those parties and the reallocation of those costs to New Jersey ratepayers. Ultimately, this has been a significantly contentious matter, and settlement proceedings did not prove to be successful. So in July of 2019, these various dockets returned to FERC for action. However, FERC has never identified what further action would be taken if settlement negotiations were unsuccessful. Con Ed, so Consolidated Edison Company of New York, Con Ed filed a motion asking that they receive refunds from New Jersey ratepayers as a result of their termination of the Con Ed Wheel, or in the alternative, that FERC schedule further proceedings. New Jersey Board of Public Utilities staff, along with New Jersey Rate Council, filed an opposition to that motion. We are opposing Con Ed's request for refunds. However, we have renewed a prior request from the board to schedule further proceedings in this matter to address the changed circumstances. And those changed circumstances from New Jersey's perspective, in staff's opinion and in Rate Council's opinion, are the equity issues associated with certain parties terminating contracts and reallocating the cost to New Jersey ratepayers. We've also asked that FERC consolidate the board's own complaint, which addresses both these transmission system allocation issues as well as capacity market implications in with these various dockets when it schedules the further proceedings. We are hopeful that FERC acts on this, and we would note that the PJM transmission owners also opposed Con Ed's motion and similarly asked FERC to act on rehearing and, in these various dockets. So with that, staff is asking that the board ratify the opposition to the Con Ed motion that was filed by staff and New Jersey Rate Council. Thank you.
moved.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Cynthia. This board, and I know I have, and I know many of my colleagues have over the years have talked about rising transmission costs in the state of New Jersey, to the point where those transmission costs are almost equal to the distribution costs that each and every one of us pay on our energy bill. Sometimes those rising rates are due to new investments in transmission infrastructure. But sometimes, as in the case here, the rising cost of transmission is due to a reallocation of costs from one party to another party. Unfortunately, that other party tends to always be the ratepayers of the state of New Jersey. We seem to be getting always the short end of the stick. It's no stretch to say that electric transmission across the Hudson River is some of the most valuable in the world. The seam, the Hudson River. It's unfortunate that parties could not reach a balanced outcome in settlement proceedings, but now it's up to FERC. And unfortunately, FERC has been somewhat dysfunctional over the past few years. These many dockets raise intertwined issues of law and fact. It is my sincere hope that FERC grants the rehearing to allow for a comprehensive and holistic examination of the issues. This is too important for us to ignore. It's too important to our fellow citizens and to ourselves. We're all ratepayers. That we ignore this. We don't have an option here, in my opinion. And it is my hope that other parties raise their voices, to be heard on these important issues, because it affects each and every one of us in the state of New Jersey. And I have to really say, in all sincerity, I am sick and tired of New Jersey always getting the short end of the stick. We had a meeting a year or so ago, maybe a couple years ago, of the organization of PJM states. And the meeting was in Jersey City, right on what they call the Gold Coast. Beautiful, looking at Lower Manhattan. And in the evening, it's all lit up. Magnificent sight. So I jokingly told my colleagues from other states, aren't those lights beautiful? Guess who's paying for them? I know you join me in my repulsion of the fact that we pay for these things as ratepayers in the state of New Jersey. So I'm calling upon FERC to step up, do its job, and for once be fair to the state of New Jersey. Commissioner, you had a question or comment?
Well, two comments. One, I agree with everything you said, and I think it probably would be a good project for our New Jersey congressional delegation. Secondly, the background materials for all of this, for this particular item, included a history of this ongoing dispute, a history that seems to be comparable to the history of the Western world. And I just would like to compliment Joe DeRosa, who I believe compiled that. I found it very helpful to have that background.
I will pass that along. He's probably watching right now.
Just one question. This goes back to 2015, right? It's almost 4 years. Do you, in your estimation, what are the chances that FERC will act on this thing? Because they should, and they have been absent. Yeah, you know, they, whatever the reason, there may be lack of quorum, lack of interest in this issue. I don't know what it was. 4 years they have not acted on it. Do you think they're going to act on it now?
I mean, so it's hard to speculate what another commission is going to act on, and certainly there are some really significant items that are also in the queue for FERC to act upon as well. But I am cautiously optimistic that by acknowledging that there were changed circumstances a year ago, that FERC staff are aware of this issue and the significance of this issue, and more dockets beyond those listed in your caption continue to open and continue to be litigious and have included deficiency letters from FERC staff. So I'm hopeful that they are very aware of this and that this will rank higher and higher on their list of priority actions.
Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Thank you. That brings us to energy item B regarding JCP&L in South Brunswick.
Correct. Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, President.
Good morning.
On March 19th, Jersey Central Power and Light filed a petition seeking approval of the sale of certain property in South Brunswick Township to BH of South Brunswick, LLC, for a purchase price of approximately $7.5 million. The company and the buyer entered into a real estate sales agreement contingent upon JCP&L's reservation of various easements. Rate Counsel filed comments in the matter indicating that it did not object to the sale of the property. However, Rate Counsel recommended that the gain from the property sale be fully reviewed in the company's next FERC rate case. Specifically, Rate Counsel requested the board order JCP&L to create a regulatory liability to preserve the issue for disposition at FERC. JCP&L filed reply comments objecting to Rate Counsel's request. Staff recommends the board approve the property sale, subject to the conditions set forth in the draft order. With respect to the net proceeds, staff recommends the board direct JCP&L to provide a copy of its order to FERC in its next rate case and indicate that it is an issue that will need to be resolved in that matter.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden? Yes. Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Item C.
On May 31st, Elizabethtown filed its annual BGSS petition seeking to maintain its periodic BGSS rate effective October 1st. On June 18th, the Environmental Defense Fund filed a motion to intervene in the proceeding, which was opposed by Elizabethtown and supported by Rate Counsel. Elizabethtown staff and Rate Counsel have determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review of the petition, it is reasonable and in the public interest that the proposed rates be implemented on a provisional basis subject to refund. The parties subsequently executed a stipulation for the provisional rates. Based on the stipulation, there will be no bill impact at this time. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing Elizabethtown to file revised tariffs by October 1st. With respect to the EDF motion, staff recommends that the motion be denied and that EDF's issues be addressed in a more appropriate proceeding, such as the Energy Master Plan, the generic gas capacity proceeding recently opened by the board, or one pertaining to Clean Energy Act matters. Finally, staff recommends that this matter be transmitted to the Office of Administrative Law.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2D, New Jersey Natural.
On May 31st, New Jersey Natural filed its annual BGSS and Conservation Incentive Program petition, requesting approval to decrease its periodic BGSS rate, increase the overall CIP rates, and an increase in the company's balancing charge rates. On June 18th, the Environmental Defense Fund filed a motion to intervene in the proceeding, which was opposed by New Jersey Natural and supported by Rate Counsel. On August 13th, the company submitted discovery responses updating its schedules, which produced a BGSS rate and certain CIP rates that were lower than originally filed for. New Jersey Natural staff and rate counsel determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review, it is reasonable and in the public interest for the updated proposed rates to be implemented on a provisional basis. Implementation of the revised rates would result in an overall increase in the monthly bill of a typical residential heating customer by approximately 94 cents. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing New Jersey Natural to file tariffs by October 1st. Similar to Elizabethtown, with respect to the EDF motion, staff recommends the motion be denied and that EDF's issues be addressed in other proceedings. Finally, staff recommends that the matter be transmitted to the Office of Administrative Law.
So moved.
Comments? Questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Commissioner Chivukula? Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorelliso?
Yes. That brings us to 2E, PSC&G and Kinder Morgan.
Correct. On June 13th, Public Service filed a petition seeking approval of a third amendment to its lease agreement with Kinder Morgan Liquids Terminals, LLC, to operate and transport light oils through a PSC&G 12-inch steel pipe and associated rights-of-way in the Township of Carteret and the City of Linden. The rental price under the proposed amendment is approximately $366,000 with a 2% escalator over in each of the two one-year options. Additionally, PS sought a waiver of the requirement to advertise, since the waiver will not adversely affect the public interest, as the company is only seeking an amendment to a currently existing lease. In its comments, Rate Counsel stated it did not object to granting the requested waiver of advertising requirements, provided the board requires the company to continue reflecting the revenues from the lease as above the line for rate-making purposes. Rate Counsel recommended any order approving the amendment contain similar conditions to those included in previous orders. Staff recommends the board approve the amended lease and approve the waiver of the requirement to advertise, subject to the conditions set forth in the draft order.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorelliso?
Yes. 2F regarding PSC&G Energy Strong 2.
Correct. On June 12th of 2018, PS filed a petition seeking approval to implement its Energy Strong 2 program and an associated cost recovery mechanism. The company proposed a 5-year program with a total investment level of approximately $2.5 billion. According to PSE&G, the program was aimed at improving the reliability and resiliency of the company's electric and gas systems. Following discovery, the filing of testimony, evidentiary hearings, and several settlement conferences, the parties executed a stipulation resolving this matter. The stipulation would allow PS to implement an Energy Strong 2 program with a capital investment of approximately $842 million, of which $691.5 million would be eligible for accelerated recovery. The investments will include electric station flood mitigation, contingency reconfiguration, grid modernization, and M&R station upgrades. The company will also maintain a minimum base spend throughout the program period, retain a program monitor, and will file its next base rate case by December 31st of 2023. Staff recommends that the board issue an order approving the stipulation.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Yes, sir.
I just have a question. We have a moratorium on AMI, right? Smart meters and all that. How does that impact this?
It doesn't impact it. They're not installing AMI meters. They're installing infrastructure on their
Just the
system.
infrastructure, so it's just no.
The infrastructure will help if and when AMI is implemented, but it's also an upgrade to their current system.
Okay, so there's no, okay, it's like a pre-approval for the infrastructure.
It's not a pre-approval, no. No.
Yes.
And with respect to the monitor, who chooses the monitor?
It would be in consultation with staff and rate counsel.
Any other questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorello?
Yes. 2G, energy efficiency and PSE&G.
Correct. On October 11th of 2018, PS filed a petition seeking approval to implement its Clean Energy Future energy efficiency program. The filing proposed 22 sub-programs, including 7 residential, 7 C&I programs, and 8 pilot sub-programs. The proposed investment for these programs was approximately $2.8 billion. Following extensive discovery, settlement conferences, and evidentiary hearings, the parties executed a stipulation that addresses several issues in this matter. As part of the stipulation, 4 of PSE&G's current EE sub-programs will be extended for a 1-year period, with the exception of the company's direct install sub-program. The total incremental capital investment would be approximately $27 million. The stipulation also extends the period for board action on this petition until March of 2020. As a result of the stipulation, there will be no immediate impact on to customers' bills. Staff recommends the board adopt this stipulation.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Commissioner Chivukula? Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorello?
Yes. Brings us down to 2H, again a PSE&G, and this is regarding a base rate adjustment.
Yes. On April 30th, PS filed a petition seeking approval for electric base rate changes to provide for cost recovery associated with the Madison and Marshall substations located in Hoboken. The substations were initially part of the Energy Strong program approved by the board in 2014. However, due to a change in scope, PS provided notice that it anticipated raising and rebuilding both substations at the Madison site. As part of a subsequent agreement with the parties, these investments were to be recovered outside of the Energy Strong program. The Madison substation was placed into service in April 2019. The full removal and retirement of the Marshall Street substation is expected by March of 2021. Expenditures of which are not included in this petition. The original petition requested recovery of approximately $7.4 million. On July 15th, PS updated its schedules to include actual information through June 30th. As a result of the update, PS's proposed annual revenue requirement changed to $7.1 million. The parties subsequently executed a stipulation that would allow the company to recover the updated revenue requirement. Based on the stipulation, the annual impact for a typical residential customer would be an increase of $3.12. Staff recommends the board approve the stipulation and direct PS to file revised tariffs by October 1st.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorello?
Yes. 2I, another PSE&G item.
Yes. On May 31st, PS filed its annual BGSS and balancing charge petition requesting authority to decrease the company's BGSS residential gas service rate effective October 1st. The company is also seeking authority to change its balancing charge period from a 5-month period to an 8-month period, which would result in a decrease of the per therm balancing charge. The parties determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review of the petition, it is reasonable to implement the rates on a provisional basis. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential heating customer would see an annual decrease of $5.89. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing PS to file revised tariffs by October 1st. Staff further recommends the board transmit this matter to the Office of Administrative Law.
So moved.
Questions? Comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Commissioner Chivukula? Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorello?
Yes. 2J, PSE&G weather normalization charge.
Yes. On June 27th, PS filed a petition seeking approval to adjust its weather normalization clause to refund approximately $8.2 million over the 2019-2020 winter period. Additionally, as noted previously, in the company's pending BGSS filing, PS proposed an adjustment to its balancing charge to change the period from 5 months to 8 months. The proposed WNC is also based on the proposed 8-month balancing period. After an initial review, the parties executed a stipulation for a provisional WNC rate. As a result of the stipulation, a typical residential heating customer would experience a decrease in their annual bill of $10.08 based upon the rates that were in effect on August 1st of 2019. Staff recommends the board issue an order approving the stipulation and directing PS to file revised tariffs by October 1st, 2019.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula? Yes. Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2K, South Jersey Gas.
Before we get to 2K, because there was a lot of PSE&G gas rate matters on, I just wanted to summarize what the total impact would be for a typical
That would be wonderful.
customer.
Thank you.
So the impact of today's actions on PSE&G's gas customers would be a net decrease of $15.97 on an annual basis based on the rates that were in effect on August 1st of 2019.
Good, thank you, Kate. Stacy.
So agenda item 2K relates to the May 31st petition of South Jersey related to its BGSS and CIP rates. In the petition, South Jersey sought authority to decrease its periodic BGSS rate, change its balancing service clause rates, and revise its conservation incentive program rates. On June 18th, the Environmental Defense Fund filed a motion to intervene in the proceeding, which was opposed by South Jersey and supported by Rate Council. South Jersey Rate Council and staff have determined that while additional time is needed to complete a review, it is reasonable for the proposed rates to be implemented on a provisional basis. As a result of the petition, a typical residential heating customer will see a decrease in their monthly bill of $6.08. Staff recommends the board issue an order adopting the stipulation and directing South Jersey to file revised tariffs by October 1st. With respect to the EDF motion, staff again recommends that the motion be denied and that EDF's issues be addressed in a more appropriate proceeding. Finally, staff recommends that the matter be transmitted to the Office of Administrative Law.
So moved.
Comments, questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? Yes. President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2L, Soundview Paper and Societal Benefit Charge.
Correct. On July 12th, Soundview Paper Company filed a petition seeking to modify the board's existing orders governing the societal benefits charge paid by Soundview at its Marcal Mill in Elmwood Park, New Jersey, for both electric and gas service provided by PSE&G. In the petition, Soundview sought a 90% reduction of the SBC associated with its distribution service, as well as the elimination of the condition that restricts it from withdrawing any SBC funds during the time in which the SBC reduction is in effect. On July 12th, Soundview filed a motion for the Pro Hoc Vice admission of Robert Weishar, and on July 19th, PSE&G filed a motion to intervene in this proceeding. At this time, staff recommends that the board grant those motions.
So moved.
Questions? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President. At first glance, this seems like a fairly mundane issue, but I think on closer inspection, this is really representative of some of the major challenges this state and this board faces. For those that are not familiar with Soundview, this is the Marcal Paper Company of Elmwood Park, which suffered a catastrophic fire, I believe it was January of this year, wiping out, I think, a majority of the facilities there. But for decades, this has been this company was I think the largest rateable in Elmwood Park, a community I represented for a number of years. It provided a place of employment for several hundred people, many people from Passaic County and the Patterson area. And something that most people don't know is that I believe 100% of the paper products produced by Markel were made with recycled paper. It was, I believe, the major facility processing recycled paper in the state, so that when you put your newspaper out on the curb, it was a high probability it was going to Markel. And it is greatly affected by policies relating to electricity. I can remember, I believe it was in November or December of 2017, when I was still in the Senate, the owner of then Soundview paper and the factory manager came to my office and said that the proposed ZEC subsidy would have the effect of, I seem to recall them saying, adding $1 million to their operating costs. Now, this is a company that was competing with paper manufacturers in the Midwest. It just didn't face these sorts of costs. And what I think we need to recognize is that as we pursue our clean energy goals and subsidize clean energy, that there is a particular impact on the large ratepayers like Markel. And I applaud our efforts to try to mitigate the impact of their costs through this particular item. But I think we as a board and as a state really should be thinking about how we can initiate policies that will mitigate the impact of these costs on large manufacturers and other entities that are providing a range of benefits, whether it's recycled paper or jobs. We're doing this on an ad hoc basis, and I think we really need to think about a more comprehensive approach, assuming that we want to both advance our clean energy goals and keep manufacturing and other large energy users in this state. So, I commend those thoughts to my colleagues. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes.
Yeah, I share your concerns. I think I even made comments that, in fact, you referenced in that when we were talking about approving the OREC and the wind price, and still we don't know the overall costs, when the all-in costs and the impact that's going to have. We had some discussion about transmission earlier, what those costs are going to be. Just don't have a handle on that yet, and that's going to be significant. So all of these items, add on to each other, and even we're considering also what to do with the solar. So keeping that in mind, I think, is very important as we move forward.
So if I can just note, when the board issued an order on the Soundview Electric in December, it directed staff to conduct a stakeholder process on SPC discounts as a whole, and so that we weren't dealing with them on an ad hoc basis, which staff has initiated and held the first meeting on. And unfortunately, a month later, Soundview circumstances changed, which is why this is here, and the only action being taken today is just to grant the motions filed by PS and by an attorney for Soundview.
Mr. President, if I could just emphasize, while I applaud the staff in looking at the SPC as a way of providing some relief, I think the legislature should think about whether there are other ways to approach this problem. Maybe for a large energy user that is providing benefits to the community, either in the form of jobs or environmental benefits, maybe it's a credit against the corporate business tax or some other thing. But I think we need to stand back and take a look at this and see how we're going to balance these competing goals we have.
And I agree with you, Bob, but I think, as you indicate, it's a much bigger issue than just this board, because I know that we always, in our deliberations as a board, keep the ratepayer paramount in our mind, and whether they're big or small or intermediate ratepayers, they're all ratepayers and they all contribute to this state in one way or another. And but I think it's something that universally we have to look at, and I agree with that. So thank you. Any other comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula? Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. 2M is one of the items we discussed in executive session.
I'm pretty sure you guys have heard me talk enough, so I'm going to pass I said I'm pretty sure you guys have heard me talk enough, so I'm going to pass the mic to Jeff.
Yeah, we have
I
heard
know.
enough of you today. Yes, yes. Thank you, Stacy. Jeffrey?
The mic doesn't want to work for me.
Okay. Well, it's telling you something.
In this matter, staff is seeking authority to issue a request for quotations to hire a consultant to undertake a cost-benefit analysis in the RICO electric case regarding AMI. And staff is requesting that the board authorize the RFQ consistent with the conversation that happened in executive session.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Thank you, Jeff. There are no items under cable television to consider, nor under telecommunications. We're now up to water, 5A. Michael, you're presenting?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
On July 1st, the Township of Long Beach in Ocean County filed a petition pursuant to the Public-Private Contract Act seeking authority to enter into a 20-year contract with Suez, New Jersey, to paint and maintain 5 water storage tanks that are owned by the township. Whenever a municipality enters into a contract with a regulated entity, they have to seek authority to enter into that contract with us, even though we don't normally regulate the municipality. Under the contract, Suez will paint and maintain 5 water tanks that are owned by the township. It's a 20-year contract, and they had a public hearing on May 6th regarding the matter. No one objected to it. The Division of Rate Counsel filed a letter saying that they recommend that the board enter into the contract. The contract was also filed with the Department of Environmental Protection. To date, the DEP has not acted on it, and we're not aware of any issues that the DEP has regarding the contract. The local finance board of the Department of Community Affairs is scheduled to consider the matter today, and staff recommends that the board approve the contract.
So moved.
Comments? Questions? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. Michael, thank you. And I want to just thank you publicly for your expert assistance yesterday. Reliability and security, no items to consider. No items to consider under customer assistance. Brings us to clean energy. And we're 8A, Department of Transportation and Clean Energy Incentives.
Yes, correct. Good morning, Commissioners.
Would you tell the reporter your name?
Sure. Ben Goldstein? Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Good. So yes, this item 8A relates to a clean energy, commercial and industrial energy efficiency program incentive exceeding $500,000. So the New Jersey Department of Transportation submitted a pay for performance existing buildings application requesting board approval of a financial incentive of $729,146.16. This incentive would help fund the installation of energy conservation measures at NJDOT's main facility located at 1035 Parkway Avenue in Trenton. These energy conservation measures have a total estimated cost of $10,878,393.77. The main improvement at the site involves decentralizing the main standard efficiency steam boiler plant there and installing high-efficiency gas boilers at each of the facility's 3 main office buildings. The rest of the complex will be taken off the underground steam loop and given gas-fired unit heaters. Additional measures at the site include interior and exterior lighting replacement with LEDs, installing interior lighting controls, and also installing HVAC system controls for time-of-day scheduling. Annually, the project is anticipated to save 769,188 kilowatt hours of electricity, as well as 231,784 therms of natural gas. The project will also reduce peak electrical demand by an anticipated 210.65 kilowatts per year, and will have an estimated annual energy cost savings of $273,694. As mentioned in the briefings, this application is being pursued as a part of a larger energy savings improvement program, which provides New Jersey governmental agencies with flexible financing to incorporate energy efficient upgrades. While the payback period for the pay for performance aspect of this project is a bit lengthy based on the specific P for P calculations, the overall ESIP project will still be paid for within the 15-year contract life. And for these reasons, staff recommends the board approve the application for the total estimated incentive amount.
So moved.
I am just thrilled to see one of our sister agencies take advantage of energy efficiency incentives provided by the BPU. And because the bottom line is that ultimately the taxpayer of New Jersey is benefiting from this, and that's always a good thing. And I want to commend the Department of Transportation for pursuing this. So thank you, Ben. Any other comments, questions? Yes?
Ben, apparently TRC's estimation of savings compared to the DOT's estimation, they seem to be different, right?
Yeah, that was one issue here. TRC, the board's program administrator for the New Jersey Clean Energy Program, anticipated fewer savings for this project than the DOT's contractors thought feasible. Essentially, what staff is recommending to the board is to use TRC's more conservative application, because the program is designed in such a way that if DOT is able to reach the more lofty savings goals that they think possible, they will still be made whole on the back end through the third incentive through the pay for performance program. But if they're not, we don't have to commit ratepayer funds too far in advance. So using the more conservative estimation here, just make sure that ratepayer funds are being allocated in the most judicial way possible, while still, making sure that DOT will be made whole on the back end if they're able to reach what they say they will.
Okay, thank you.
Roll call.
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiordaliso?
Yes. And that brings us to 8B, Fort Dix and Bureau of Prisons. Oh, I'm getting nervous saying both of those. Is that you too, Ben?
This is me, yes.
All right.
Okay. So this is a petition filed by the Fort Dix Bureau of Prisons for a 5th extension for a full facility lighting retrofit program that they have completed at this point. So as you are aware, staff, the program administrator along with staff is able to grant up to 4 extensions for NJSEP programs, and then after that has to go to the board for any further extensions. So this is a 5th extension that they're asking for. Essentially, the Fort Dix Bureau of Prisons is requesting that the board grant them additional time to submit the final incentive application there for now completing lighting retrofit project. Staff has reviewed Fort Dix's petition and the record and recommends that the board grant petitioner's request. As explained in the petition, the delays resulting in the previous extensions were due to the use of inmate labor to complete the project at the prison. This labor choice, while avoiding the expense of using certified electrical contractors, made the installation process a bit more lengthy and complicated. And staff would also note that the project would most likely have been completed prior to the expiration of the fourth incentive, but the unforeseeable federal government shutdown at the beginning of this year, so I believe it started in the end of 2018 going into 2019, obviously made any work at the facility unable to be completed. Additionally, the project at this point, as I mentioned, has been entirely completed, and petitioner has pursued their previous extensions, or its previous extension, sorry, in a timely manner. Therefore, staff recommends that the board grant Fort Dix 60 days to submit its final incentive application in this matter so they're able to be paid for their work.
So moved.
Questions?
I
Comments?
understand the project is already completed.
I have a comment.
Yes.
Yeah, I love these kind of projects because you give someone an opportunity to maybe experience a new profession, or maybe there are inmates that are electrically inclined. Give them a little experience, so maybe they get to the outside, they may pursue a career.
Good point. Diane? Good. Any other comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon? Yes. Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorliso?
Yes. Thank you, Ben. Well done. That brings us to 8C. We have someone different presenting. How are you today? Good.
It's my pleasure to speak with you this morning regarding the proposed energy efficiency baseline study. Staff is requesting your approval to issue a request for proposals, or RFP, to the New Jersey Department of Treasury in order to procure a contractor to complete the energy efficiency baseline study, commonly referred to as the EE baseline study. This baseline study will gather information related to the residential and commercial industrial sectors, which will provide this board and board staff with a better understanding of energy use, trends in energy consumption and management, saturations of energy efficiency appliances and equipment, and building stocks and characteristics. The EE baseline study is an evaluation of business as usual energy consumption, and it will include a multiplicity of factors including lighting, heating, cooling, and water heating systems, building shell and construction characteristics, and occupant behavior. It will provide valuable information towards improved program design and more precise program evaluation. The study is anticipated to take 12 months to complete following contract award and is anticipated to cost approximately $2 million. This expenditure has been approved by the Office of Management and Budget. The information resulting from the EE baseline study will support both better program design and allow for more accurate calculations of the energy savings achieved through energy efficiency incentives or other market intervention programs. It will be valuable towards all future energy efficiency programs in the state of New Jersey and will increase our ability to effectively serve New Jersey ratepayers and measure the impact of our clean energy initiatives. Therefore, staff is recommending that you approve the release of a request for proposal in order to procure an energy efficiency baseline study.
So moved.
And obviously, these studies, baseline studies, are important so we know how it's being used, when it's being used, who's using more for what, and so on, so we know where to pinpoint our efforts.
Exactly.
Correct?
We'll better understand what's going on in the state so we can,
Right.
exactly, as you said, pinpoint our efforts.
Right, good. Yes.
I can understand the great value in this. It strikes me this is going to be really hard to do. I mean, what we're asking the consultant to determine is, the number and geographical distribution of particular appliances, types of heating systems. Are we expecting the utilities to be providing some of this data, or the manufacturers for these appliances? I mean, how is the consultant going to get a handle on this? And I know you haven't seen a proposal yet.
I think all of those are options, and we will certainly work with those in the industry to better understand what data is available already, and all of those are certainly options.
It's also a best practice.
Yes, yeah.
I can't resist. It's all about the base, about the base, sorry.
I have,
Do you dance too?
that's him.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Who's next?
I think I am.
Okay.
But these baseline studies, I mean, this is not, the first one that we've ever encountered, or, certainly, as I think Sarah just mentioned, these are best practices in order to be able to move us forward in an orderly fashion with respect to energy efficiency. It's really hard to make any reasonable, informed judgments, from where I'm sitting anyway, without having that information. So while Commissioner Gordon and I am not at all well versed in the particulars of how this information is collected, I do know that these types of studies, have been beneficial to others who have had them conducted, and I think it's certainly something that we need to move forward.
Yes, thank you. That's a great point. They are definitely best practices in terms of clean energy programs throughout the country and for states to pursue. New Jersey has not completed a full baseline study since 2001, so I think you can imagine that the technology has changed since then, so it'll be very important for us.
That's for sure. Commissioner?
Just a question about, you have two parts to this RFP, right? One of the things is the residential appliance, and the other one is the commercial and industrial equipment. How does that work? I mean, what kind of questions you ask and what kind of answers you expect?
So the bidder, whoever bids on the RFP, will propose that to us, and that will be one of the criteria for evaluation. But just generally, they will look at different kind of characteristics of each, different characteristics of a residential customer versus a commercial, better understanding what goes on in the buildings, and those questions will be sort of phrased a little bit differently depending on the survey respondent.
The way I read it is, it doesn't say building, it says appliance, so I'm trying to figure out.
Both appliance and building stock will be portions of the study. So there'll be both of those elements will be surveyed.
Maybe you want to add the building part. Yeah, because it only shows appliance, yeah.
Commissioner, staff can take a look at that, but in terms of how the bidders are going to propose doing this, that'll be certainly something that they'll have to put as part of their bid, how they propose addressing these particular issues, and then the evaluation committee will have to evaluate how, the individual.
No, I understand that.
proposals
And the point I'm making is that if you look at the description, the description is very narrow. That's why I was concerned, yeah.
Yeah. We aim to set kind of a minimum requirements and have them build from there based on their experience in doing similar surveys in the industry and what is best practice. So we're kind of balancing a fine line between the minimum requirements and all of the elements, but we will take another look at that and make sure it's inclusive as it needs to be.
The reason for you setting the minimum requirement, you want to reduce the cost? Is that the reason? I mean, just trying to understand that, yeah.
Commissioner, you also don't want to set, while you want the bids to come in consistent with what you want, you also don't want to hamstring a bidder who may have a idea that staff isn't necessarily thinking of in a manner to do it. So you don't want to put in such specific requirements that a bidder would have a process that would more efficiently be able to calculate this information, yet at the same, but they wouldn't be able to do it because it wouldn't be consistent with those.
Actually, it's on the contrary. If you are specifying appliance, it's much more specific than just saying building.
Yeah, we'll take another look. Thank you.
And also, I don't know how they collect this data either. I have no idea, right? I mean, that's why we hire a consultant. They're the ones who are going to come in and they're right. No, I understand what you're saying.
Specific, you don't want to be very specific.
No, exactly.
More general, so that way, if you are trying to extract as much information as possible.
Exactly.
So that's.
No, I understand what you're saying.
I was
Absolutely.
misled when I was just, that's all.
So, any other comments? Roll call.
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorelliso?
Yes. Thank you. Well done. It's a shame you had to work with Jeff, but that's all right. James, 8D. And this was done in executive session or discussed in executive session also, the second item. The floor
Mr.
is
President,
yours.
Commissioners, thank you. This agenda item pertains to a petition filed by Ocean Wind on August 19th, 2019, regarding the purchase of capacity interconnection rights from Exelon Generation Company at the Oyster Creek Nuclear Power Station. The petitioner comes before the board as a result of the June 21st order that approved the Ocean Wind 1,100 megawatt project under this same docket number. The June 21st order required Ocean Wind to seek board authorization to procure capacity interconnection rights in order to be subject to the true-up mechanism listed in the June 21st order. As discussed in executive session, board staff recommends that the board approve this petition.
So moved.
Questions, comments? Yes.
Only because you mentioned the true-up portion, I get that when we do reach that particular phase, we'll be getting more information. When we were talking about, costs and transmission costs will become more readily available with respect to what's going to be reflected in the OREC as that process moves along.
Yes, that is correct, Commissioner. The June 21st order requires Ocean Wind to submit its trued-up OREC price to the board, including full and complete calculation of how that true-up cost was arrived at for the board's review and approval.
Thank you.
Roll call?
On the motion to approve staff's recommendation, Commissioner Holden?
Yes.
Commissioner Solomon?
Yes.
Commissioner Chivukula?
Yes.
Commissioner Gordon? President Fiorelliso?
Yes. Thank you, Jim. There are no items under miscellaneous. If there are no other items in general, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you. Have a good day.